processes, which information should be tracked, or which chemicals should be tracked on which process and which are not. So we will see. I change the diagram here. Okay. So just to understand the process, this is an example. We will draw the lines to understand the process. First, we will come one by one. This tracking region, which I'm showing here, this is European region, just you mentioned. You think it is a European region, and this is from outside of the world. Okay. So there are different companies. Okay, there are different companies staying there, and this is customer, which is outside of the Europe, and this is a customer inside Europe, and this is a supplier, generally processes the chemicals and all based on the requirements to the companies. An internal supplier is also maintained here. There are two different things which we don't understand up to now. That is internal OR, external OR. Okay, internal OR and external OR. Those are the two different things. First, we will understand the processes in a bit. So what exactly we will discuss about the production scenario first. So this is the own company. The company is producing the chemical on its own. The company is producing the chemical on its own, and it is outside of Europe. Chemicals, those are pure substances. Pure substances means is the lowest part. There is nothing involved in that. Those are the basic information, basic materials which are responsible for any kind of process. Means basic chemicals. Basic chemicals can be combined and they will be formed a raw material. My question is, what is the need to track? It is not going to anywhere. We are not sending it to anywhere. It is a production plant, and you are producing some information, some chemical. That's it. Today you produced 100 liters of the chemical, and tomorrow you will do the same. And this information will be noted. I'm talking about the tracking. Why we need to track this kind of things? Activate the stuff and we will check it with the registration process, but we don't track them. We are not moving these materials to anywhere. Later it will be, it can be part of some raw materials or some product specifications or finished products or something. Later it will be happen and the mixtures will be calculated. Whenever they are moving to somewhere, those will be a different scenario. This is just production. You're producing something. Okay, you're producing something means you should have definitely a registration for that particular chemical. And if you are producing, the entries will be noted down in the sheets. Okay, today 100 liters. Okay, we have the license up to 1000 tons. So still the process can be going on and it will be stopped once it is reached to the threshold. It will give some alarm. That is a different process. That is.
Good.
Now we are tracking. Are we moving this good to anywhere? The first part is over. What I will do, So now we will see a different scenario. This is your own company, right? It is present in Europe. Now what I will do, the company is producing something and it is internal. Outline, that is good. So something is producing inside European plant. You're preparing some 10 liters of ethyl alcohol in your own company, that is inside Europe. We have three scenarios: import, export, and production. If it is happening outside of Europe, you don't care about it. According to Rich, there is no need to care. But Rich always care when it is happening inside Europe or when it is coming from outside to Europe. We need to track these three scenarios: import, export, and also production. In production means even if you are creating the chemical at outside, that doesn't matter. You create 100 tons or 1,000 tons or nothing, just that doesn't matter. At this moment, there is no need to take the registration also because you're outside of the Europe. If you want to take any registration or something else, just you need to. It depends on your own country. Right now, we are talking about REACH. REACH doesn't give any registrations which are happening outside of the Europe. So if you apply also, you prepare your chemical. We don't bother. So, but you are preparing the chemical in the European plant inside European region, then it is a countable activity. We need to provide the records to government. It needs to be tracked. So this is the concept. Paint related substance, which is a chemical. Okay. Paint related substance, which is a chemical, and which is supplied to our company, which is in Europe. This is a company which is present in Europe, and we want a material that is paint related stuff, which is a pure substance, and it is supplied by a supplier who is outside Europe. Okay, now he supplied it. You are sitting inside Europe, and this is your company, and you are sitting inside your plant in Europe. You are getting something from a supplier who is outside Europe. You're sitting there, and you tell me what is the scenario. Just think about the process. What exactly you have done? How the material from a supplier who is outside of Europe is providing or passing the materials to your plant. So what is this process? What exactly you have done to get the chemical to your plant? You are holding a company inside Europe, and you need a chemical, paint related substance, and the paint related substance you need it for your plants, and you are getting it from other suppliers who is outside of Europe, and you are getting the products into European region and into your company. What exactly this process? What exactly you have done to get the chemical inside your company? In SAP terminology, sorry?
We are purchasing.
Yes, you purchase the material, Tony. You created a purchase order. Perfect, perfect. So you created a purchase order. Okay, you created a purchase order. You want the chemical in your plants. That is the reason you purchased it, and the chemical was transferred to European plants. based on the purchase order. You purchased it. That is the reason it is importing scenario. Importing. Okay, you imported a chemical from other supplier to European region. Now you tell me, Pavani, you are importing something and you are bringing one substance or one chemical to inside European region, moving a chemical from outside of the Europe to Europe. So a chemical is coming inside Europe based on your purchase order, and you provided the authorization, and you are responsible to provide the documentation or the report to the authority from your side. And you should have a proper license to do this activity. And it is an importing process, and you have done the purchasing. But in a similar activity, every time you are doing 990 kgs, people will get suspicious and just they know this person is doing this stuff only to avoid the taxes and just avoiding the reports and all. Then they will catch you. And one more thing, the problem is if you're doing 990 kgs, think about your business is very much big. You cannot bring the materials like in small pieces of thing. Generally, companies used to get the materials in 100 tons like that. It is an international shipment, and containers will hold those that much amount because it is a transport. Every time you're doing the transport, it costs a lot. So up to now, what exactly I have said, it is a kind of one-way transport. Whenever we transport, or means better to use a good word, whenever we move the materials from outside of Europe to Europe, then only they will be tracked. Correct? This is simply coming in the scenario purchasing or import. Generally, we used to deal that. But in Europe, if you think this is the concept, there is no concept of export then. Okay? If it is the concept to track, there is no export concept in Europe. That is the reason. What they taught, they defined their own export scenario. They defined their own export. Okay? What exactly they defined? There might be a possibility their branches or their companies which are outside Europe, there might be a possibility their companies are outside Europe, like this is the main company and this is subsidiary. Still, this is a part of this one. And what exactly they will do? So this is a company which is outside of Europe. What I will do? The customer is inside Europe, and from this company, you are moving the goods to a customer who is present in Europe. This is your company, which is outside of Europe, and he is selling some goods to customer. Now, Musina, your turn. You can start. Whether it is a tracked concept or not, and if it is tracked, why? If it is not tracked, why? What kind of scenario it is, and you can shoot your comments. Yes, this is the source, and this is the place where exactly the shipment started. This is the place where exactly the shipment ended. It is outside of Europe. It is inside of Europe. Both the companies, sir. No, madam, it is under Indian government. Because if you're stabilizing a company in outside of Europe or something, obviously the company is responsible for the content and all. But you need to provide the records. That is correct, because even though it is outside of the country, but still the process is similar, and the company is responsible to maintain the information because it is transporting goods, even though it is in present in India or somewhere. If you're crossing the borders, definitely they will ask for the documents and all. If somebody asks you for the registration certificate, that's it. You're outside of Europe and you're selling something, and the customer is buying, and you're asking the customer to take some registration, then I will sell you.
No.
Is it a valid statement?
No.
Customer is God, right? We can't say this kind of things. Otherwise, simply the customer will say, just go to hell, I will buy somewhere inside Europe. So you confirmed it is an export and it is a sales scenario. You are crossing the border with the material to reach the customer. So logically, you should have the registration process. Okay, you should have the registration process, and your responsibility is to take the registration and submitting the information to ECHA related, because you're doing the business, and it can be considered as export and it will come under sales process. Coming to Europe from outside of Europe, definitely it should be an importing to Europe, right? No, you're not doing any purchasing concept. You're selling. You're trying to get some money. Consider the each and every mechanism, what exactly going on, who is doing. You need to sit in the customer place one time. You need to sit in the owner company at one time. Then you need to start thinking, okay, what exactly I'm doing? I'm selling. What exactly the customer is doing? He's purchasing. So what it is? It is a simply sales concept according to me, not according to a customer. According to me, I'm selling. So it is exporting scenario. Where I'm exporting? Europe. So a material is crossing the border on the concept of export. It should be treated as sales. And a sales order needs to be tracked. And a delivery needs to be created on that. A delivery, once the delivery is created and the invoice is generated, then the sales process is converted from planned to confirmed. Planned quantities are moving to confirmed quantities. This is the process. You need to think like in the same view. You should some graphics should be moving on your face, in front of your face, and some material is going from one place to another place. You need to calculate and you need to understand which scenario it is and what exactly doing and how the planned and confirmed quantities are treating everything. You should understand and you should visualize the process, because you need to sit in the place of the company and you need to think. Then you will understand. As a third person, if you're thinking that, you will get confused. After my class also, you will get confused. After completion of 2 days from the class also, you will get confused. Every time it is the same process. Every time you need to rewind the video and you need to see the explanation and you need to get the things again and you need to forget again. So better option is sit in the place of the company and you start thinking what exactly you are doing. Every time ask yourself what exactly I'm doing. I'm selling. So this is the beautiful concept. Now we will go for the next concepts again. So I hope everybody is clear and where exactly we are. External OR, this person. Okay, this person. An external OR is a company located within Europe. An external OR is a company located within Europe, which represents a manufacturer. Okay, which represents a manufacturer outside of Europe. An external OR is a company which is present or staying inside Europe, and it is representing a manufacturer outside of Europe. This person. He will secure all the registrations, and he is supposed to get the registration process, submitting documents, all the other stuff. And finally, he will be responsible for SVT concept. Suppose you have a chemical. Sorry, you are in Europe.
Yes, Ramesh.
Are you still?
Yes, I'm there.
Mr. Venkat, you are present in Germany.
Okay.
You are the owner of the company.
Okay.
You need some naphthalene substance
Okay.
for your plants in Germany.
Okay.
You don't have the naphthalene in European customers, or you are getting a lower price from India. If you
Input.
import naphthalene from India, it will be more cheaper. The reason, so you approached this person for naphthalene. He
Okay.
need to supply the naphthalene to you. Actually, this is the original story. He need to supply the naphthalene to you. This is the original process. But in your company, there is no SVT implemented or installed. And
Okay.
also, you are not interested to take the registrations. You are not interested to take the registrations, not interested to pay the amounts to the legal governments, not interested to provide any documentation to the legal bodies. Now, you discussed with this supplier, I will give more business. I will give some 5% extra. You take care of the registration, process, government bodies dealing, reports related stuff, everything.
Okay.
Then this person, supplier is our friend Maganath. Maganath, what exactly he do? He is very much happy with the 5%, and he created a company inside Europe, Maganath Enterprises, and finally he will move the goods from supplier to external OR. External OR, Maganath Enterprises will take care of the registration activities. It will secure the registration, and it will secure the reports, and it will implement the SVT, and it will track, and it will finally provide the information to government. Because the supplier already moved the information materials to external OR. External OR,
Yes.
what it will do, external OR is already present in Europe. In Europe, what kind of transport or what kind of movement you do, nobody cares. This is the concept of external OR. Question is, just a second, let me draw the original scenario, what exactly I want to draw. Somebody is taking care of the tracking activity because you don't have a suite implemented, or you don't want to track. Any reason can be. You don't want to track, you don't want to involve with the registration process. Yes. Still, you are not at least bothered about that process. Somebody is doing that, you don't bother about it. So internal OR, again, the same concept, internal only representative. Okay. Internal only representative. Now, in this case, it is a legal entity this time. It is not from any other company. It is a legal entity this time, a subsidiary company from our own. With the same name, we will create a subsidiary company, and we will take care of all the SVT processes. All the SVT processes by using this internal OR. She have multiple plans and legal entities across the globe, across the Europe. She have companies in Germany. She have companies in Swiss. She have companies in Norway. She have companies in Turkey. So you need to understand the similarity. All the companies are in Europe. Okay, all the companies are in Europe. For all the companies, she's getting a lot of materials from outside of Europe, and she don't want to deal the total importing concept from different companies. She want to put a legal entity for all the Europe, and she will create a legal entity as an internal OR, and it will take care of all SVT processes. It will register all the materials which are needed for every company, every legal entity. This legal entity is only responsible for SVT related registrations and government body billings and everything. All the other companies in different countries will get the information from this internal OR. And finally, it will take care of all the registration activities. So, internal OR is the one which is a company, sorry, it is not a company, it is a legal entity of the same concern located within Europe, which represents another peer legal entity outside of Europe. Means somebody is already some other companies which are outside Europe. Those are processing all the information, materials, and finally this internal OR is taking care of all the requests, and it will taking care of all the registration processes and everything it will do, and finally it will deliver the materials to the companies which are present in Europe. You have 5 companies and they are in 5 different countries in Europe, and finally you are receiving all your materials from outside of Europe to this internal OR, and internal OR will take care of all the materials, registrations and all, and finally it will move the materials to each and every company of yours. There is no need to implement 5 SVT related solutions for 5 different companies if the SAP system differs. So I can create a SAP system at my internal OR, and I will take care of all the registration processes, and 4 consultants from regulations is enough, and I need a big warehouse to receive all the materials, and finally I need to supply back to the internal companies by using transport. So it is saving concept. It is like the suppliers, how they are maintaining their external ORs. Companies also do the magics, and they will maintain their internal ORs. You need to understand the requirement very clearly. If possible, please document it. If possible, create the solution and just document it. And finally, get the approval from the business. Ask him to just ask him to come for the meeting and discuss it with them multiple times. The solution, what exactly you are doing, what exactly you are thinking, what exactly the solution can be. Please record their sessions also. Otherwise, in the last, the damage will be the most. It will be a huge impact on the project at least. So, SVT is the most confusing thing. So, this is internal OR. Very nice. So, composition needs to be created for raw material and finished and semi-finished, so that the pure substances will get involved, and whenever you are doing a sales or purchase or whatever it is, the involved pure substances will be tracked. So that is EHS data maintenance. In EHS data maintenance, we use it to put different kind of information, like whether they are polymers or not. They are polymers or not. Because if they are polymers, most of the business consultant, what exactly they will ask, if they are polymers, I don't want the polymers to be tracked. I want monomers which are present inside polymers to be tracked. Each and every polymer will have some monomers involved in that. So in such case, we used to maintain monomer composition inside the pure substance. Inside the pure substance, we will maintain the monomer composition. Whenever the polymers or the pure substances involved in any raw substances or product or semi-finished product substances, then it will check for the pure substance. If the pure substance is a polymer, then the polymers will be separated and it will check for the monomer composition inside each and every polymer. If it have monomers, if polymers will not be tracked, instead of polymers, the components which are involved inside polymers, those are monomers, will be tracked and the calculations will be done, and finally they will be present inside the tracking tables. So this is another concept. To achieve that functionality, what exactly you need to do? You need to maintain the information which pure substance is a polymer. So that is in master data maintenance. And also, sometimes the pure substances will have the registration concepts. This material is allowed or the registration was secured for this much tons. This is a registration concept. So this information is also maintained under pure substances. If I open a pure substance and I can show, if I show that, then you people better understand that. Notepad, I'm giving the concept of EHS, data maintenance. So inside this, composition maintenance, polymer, monomer composition. Anything. Observe the pure substance. This pure substance is involved. If you want to set something, don't search directly. Better you can use the search button. It will be displayed. See this. This is a monomer composition where exactly we need to maintain. That can be maintained the polymer details on any place. Type of substance, you can maintain it as a polymer. There will be multiple places. Traces is not present, so this one. This phrase needs to be assigned to this particular phrase set. So directly press F4. This is the phrase set, and you just open CG1B transaction and add this phrase set. Add the phrase to the phrase set so that you can able to see in this place. It can be defined in multiple places. Like what are the phrase sets involved? See this specific use, additional info. You can put wherever you want. Actually, most of the people put in type of substance and also some notification stuff, also regulations, notifications. Inside notification, it is mostly yeah. See this? This is the registration place where exactly we need to maintain the registration concepts and all. If it is having any. Okay, for which country you're for which legal entity you are taking the registration, and what is the regulation, what is the plan details. There is no need, just registration date and expiry registration and registered quantity if you want to provide any, and this is the only information you need to provide. Notification status, let me open this, because in the notification status only, generally people use it to put the polymer information. Yeah. If you put this particular phrase, then system automatically treat it as a polymer, and based on the configuration, it will accept this particular specification and what exactly maintained in the monomer composition. It will take that information, and finally it will provide the monomer specification numbers inside the tracking tables instead of polymer specification. This is the registration. There is another node if you see on the down. What are the produced quantities, consumed quantities, purchased quantities? These quantities automatically fill from the tree, automatically from the transactions and all. There is no need to fill anything. But see this specific limited quantities. This is the node we need to fill in the part of master data. If you would like to, if you are interested, you can fill. Otherwise, you can do the configuration and you can leave it as blank. Simply what will be the threshold quantity? I will explain once I'm discussing the configuration and all, just you can able to understand this process. So this is all comes under the first step, EHS data maintenance. CGO2 inside your specifications, you maintain all the stuff, and finally, quantity limits. Okay, that is the first step. Second step is filling. Filling means in EHS, if you understand the database structure, the specification is related to the material or assigned to the material only in one place, that is ESTMJ. ESTMJ is the table which is responsible for the linking. ESTRH is the specification table which is directly linked to the ESTMJ. All the other specification tables are linked to ESTRH. Only ESTRH is linked to ESTMJ. That is the reason you can achieve the connection between the materials and specifications. But in substance volume tracking, everything is related to material. There is no concept of specification. Only everything will be treated dealt from material side. So filling needs to be happen. Filling needs to be happen. A relationship between the material and the composition or the components involved in the composition should be maintained. That is the reason we need to execute the filling transaction. Filling transaction will identify all the materials first. It will identify all the materials. And for all the materials, it will check for the specifications. For all the specifications, it will check for the components in the prescribed composition. In the configuration, we will mention the composition. So based on the composition, it will check for the components and it will give a 1:1 mapping to the records for components and the material. That is the final job, filling. Okay. In filling, this is the activity generally performed. Link between material and pure substances involved in the composition. Got you? So this is filling. How filling will be done? Filling will be done by using a program which needs to be triggered in SC38. So programs names will be, I will give you a set of, set of transaction codes and also the program names and all for which are responsible for filling reporting and all, calculating the other steps. I will provide some set of transactions and also the program names. So for this, yeah, the program name will be RREGCH underscore fill. I don't know. This is the one or not. Just let me check. Okay. CDRC. Yes, it is related to SVT. Next. Substance volume tracking, data property, data transfer from property array. So this is filling. Okay. So inside the filling program, the amount of the entries will be loaded, and I will give you the table name also because once filling is completed, it will fill the table. 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 It is RIECH. CCRCT. What? System is also forgetting. No. CCRCT EHS underscore com. This table will be filled. So in this table, you can able to see. I don't think any entries will be present because very good. So in such case, I can show you. That is the regulation list that is on the top, and the material will be which material we are tracking. That is the material, the specification which is directly involved, and the specification, the pure substance which is involved inside the material. So this is the one. Let me do one thing. Maybe this is not in the sorting order. That is the problem. Sorting series for reach regulation. This is the material inside. The specification is single because 1:1 mapping, but the pure substance which are involved inside the specification are multiple. So these are the specifications, and it is creating a linkage table between the material and the specific pure substances and their compositions. So composition is getting filled in this step. So this is filling step. Now the other step is once the filling is completed, tracking. Tracking means it will be involved with logistic data. It can be a purchase order, or it can be a sales order, whatever it is, it will be involved with the logistic data. And finally, the data will be tracked, means the data will be extracted from the logistic tables, and it will check with EHS tables, so those filling table and all. And finally, we will move the information to tracking tables. We have some tracking tables, and those are completely responsible. In tracking, we don't execute a program. We will directly execute the transaction code. CCRCD. No. RIAGCH underscore tracking. This is the transaction code for checking the transactions and all. Now, RREGCH. Yes, I hope it is the one. RREGCH underscore VT. Let me check. So this is for tracking. Tracking means the program will do, it will collect all the information from the logistics. Means we have the material which is involved inside the logistic order. Suppose if you consider an export scenario, the material which is involved in how many sales orders within this particular period, and the information will be calculated, and finally the information will be checked with this components information, and finally it will create the tables, tracking tables. Okay, this is the thing it will be happen. And the tables, we have different scenarios, right? For scenario wise, the tables will be existing. Like suppose we will start with purchase CCRCT underscore PUPL. Yeah, purchased quantities. It is planned purchasing quantities, confirmed purchasing quantities. PUPL is planned, PUPL, purchasing quantities will be the confirmed quantities. So this is purchasing. This is sales. Same. Instead of PU, you can put SO and planned, SOPL. Sold quantities, yeah. So and the confirmed quantities will be SO. I hope so. Yes. So production. Previously PU, right? Now it is PO. POPL. This time, my mistake. but I am very much sure it is very similar to PUPL. PRPL, okay. My God. Planned produced quantities. Remove PL for confirmed quantities. This is for the confirmed quantities of produced. So production is also done. The next step will be monitoring. Okay. Monitoring will be yes, this is a transaction now, and CBRC20 is responsible for this, and you can execute a program also. It is VH, I think. Very bad. VT. VM. So we don't use all these things. Just we have the memory elements stored in our systems directly. For the first time only, people use to check these things, and they will remember these things. So this is the whole concept. Monitoring it will be done by using the transaction CBRC20. In CBRC20, you can able to see the final report which you want to submit it to the government bodies or somebody. Just that is the final list. In the list, it is displaying all the materials which are involved in what scenario and based on the purchasing, and if it is very much near to the threshold, we will represent it with traffic lights, green, yellow, red. So everything, every information we can able to see in monitoring transaction code, and a separate consultant will be assigned to the particular job. He used to have his activities to check this particular transaction every day, and if there is any blockings or some issues or errors, the registration updates or everything, he will take care of it. So this is the concept of monitoring. Now, there is another concept called archiving, because you're dealing with huge data. Once, suppose how many materials generally it will be present inside a company. The materials will be in millions. Suppose the millions are added to the components. Every specification can have at least 3 to 4 components. 1 million will be turned into 3 millions. Again, these 3 million data is involved with purchase orders, sales orders, production orders into 2. 3 million is multiplied with by 3, 9 million. In literally, it is a bit equal to 10 million. So the database tables are really face a difficulty, or it will be very odd or difficult to maintain all this information inside the tables. That is the reason we use to archive the data based on the years. Yearly, we use it to archive the data from SVT tables and all, so the data will be archived safely, and if there is any need or reference is required, then we will get the data and we will check the information over there. So this is the complete story of SVT process model. SVT process model involved these steps. This is the whole story for SVT process model, and so this is representing the complete data model.